Okay, welcome back to DEFCON 3. Those of you who are regular viewers know we usually actually have a steady diet of death and destruction, tragedy, war, nuclear weapons. And it's unfortunately in the last year or so it's been a pretty sad story. There is, however, one extremely nice bit of hope on the horizon, and it's coming from, of all places, the Middle East. From Morocco, a country which we very rarely hear much about after Casablanca. But it's a country that, in fact, is making great strides and seems to be finding the way that hopefully other countries can find. Now, joining us in New York are two young people, young to me. I'm sure you don't think of yourselves as young people. Two Moroccan Americans, Hicham Enhaili, right, if I said that correctly, and then Oughla.
Narjis.
Oughla Narjis. Okay, now these are Moroccan Americans. And you have both spent time in Morocco, Moroccan parentage, and Americans. And you formed an organization that talks about Morocco Tomorrow, right?
Yes.
And you're the founder, Hicham.
Yes.
So tell me about the organization.
Morocco Tomorrow is a concept that I came up with after being here for so many years in the U.S. And after I saw the changes that are happening in Morocco, which are very positive, I came up with the idea to really put all of us, a team together that all of us are Moroccan professionals that are global citizens of the world, but with a Moroccan background. Okay,
we're showing the website right now. And so one of the things, though, that I think that there was an article in the New York Post this morning, in a New York Post owned by News Corp, our sister publication and our parent. But this is Benny Abni, and he said that nobody's paying a darn bit of attention to what's just happened in Morocco. That we're all focused on what's happened in Syria and Libya, okay? Dictators who won't leave and are suppressing and killing their people. Or Egypt and Tunisia, dictators who have left and yet created power vacuums. But yet Morocco, governed by a king, is that right?
Exactly.
And you've just had a historic election.
We did. We actually consider we at Morocco Tomorrow consider Morocco as being an exception. And Morocco is giving a good example for other regions because we had peaceful protests, and the government and the monarchy did listen to the people and did bring changes to the constitution.
Did you have uprisings in Morocco?
I'm sorry?
Were there demonstrations and uprisings in Morocco in the last 6 months?
Yes, definitely. But they were peaceful. We didn't have any violence going on. We just had people asking for a change, and the change came. And we had now a referendum. People voted for their for what they really want, for the new constitution that the king proposed.
And so the king's proposed a constitution which would give rights to the people. He would retain some authority, but he would.
The proposed constitution actually was a positive move for Morocco to position itself a little bit different than the rest of the region. And what I mean by that is that the constitution keeps him as the head of the military and the religion, but gives the power to the parliament, which now.
And had there been a parliament before?
Yes, there has, but now the parliament is able to elect the prime minister, and the prime minister then can elect.
And we're looking right at the picture now. This is the king or the prime minister?
This is
the king actually voting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So there is definitely a very positive change, and we as Morocco Tomorrow thought it would be a great opportunity to have a voice from this side of the world. And we have members in UK, Canada, and also in Holland, and professionals with different sectors, from different sectors of the industries. And we want our voice to be heard within all these changes that are happening in Morocco, which are very positive. And we thought that also the constitution, with the new constitution, votes which was 98%, and out of the 70%, pre-elections,
right? These were real elections.
Yeah, the interesting thing is 70% plus, I think it's what, 73% of the population in Morocco voted, and 98% of the 73% voted yes for the constitution. So there's a major moment.
Now let me ask you, Morocco, all the countries in the Middle East seem to have the same problems. They have very large youth populations.
Yes.
They have crummy economies, very bad economic prospects. Young people who don't have jobs are unlikely to have jobs.
Yes.
And so a lot of the demonstrations you saw were not just for democracy, but it was really for economic options and more economic liberalization so that hopefully they could have better lives. Is Morocco the same thing? Large youth populations? What's the economy like?
Yes, we do have a lot of problems as well as any other country. And we do have a lot of youth. More than 50% of the population
is under the age of what, 30?
30.
Under the age of 30.
30, yes.
Okay, so just like all those other countries, large youth population.
Exactly. But we do have a majority of the people who love and support the king. We do have, we also have...
So he's a popular ruler.
Yes.
And in other words, not like Saddam Hussein,
No, very
like
popular,
Assad, not like Mubarak.
And he gave some of his powers away currently. And I think it's a first step for democracy in Morocco. It's not a perfect constitution, but I think it's a first step to move forward.
Is Morocco a rich country?
No.
No oil, right?
No oil. No, we have the major economy that we have is we have phosphates. We also the biggest exporter of phosphate in the world, and we also have a huge tourism.
Right,
fishery
which
as
has
well.
not been affected then by this, or certainly
it
not
has,
to the...
It has a little bit, but I think...
But nothing like Egypt.
Nothing. But Morocco has been stable for many, for many years. Since I've been born, I think it's been a stable country, and a lot of people that go to Morocco, they always go back because it's such a beautiful place to visit as well. But I also think that moving forward, I think that the economy, because the parliament will elect the prime minister, the economy will have more transparency, which will give more accountability, and then people have a freedom to elect who the government officials are going to be. And at that point, I think it will link to having a better economy in the country, which will create more jobs.
Right,
which
so
then,
a snowball effect, and everything gets better and
so
better.
I think it will be a positive, and it's a first step. So.
Now, okay, so you're Moroccan Americans, you're in the United States, you go back and forth. Do you see other young people from the Middle East looking to Morocco and say, gee, they've got it right. I mean, they're figuring this out. Or is every country really sort of caught up in its own dynamic? Hicham?
I think currently a lot of the countries are caught up in their own dynamic,
right.
And this is such a new phase for Morocco, being that the speech and the constitution and everything just happened in the last few months. I think moving forward that other countries will look at Morocco as an example of democracy in the region, and I think it's a first step to move into a modern phase of the new millennium.
Okay, when Americans look at the Middle East, and particularly some of these countries that are now having power vacuums, they say, well, who's going to fill those power vacuums? It's going to be the Muslim Brotherhood, it's going to be Islamic extremists. Does Morocco have an al-Qaeda movement? Does Morocco have...
Here's the thing. The king stayed as the commander of the faithful. And
Right.
now, by law, all religions are protected. So
Christian,
all
everybody.
religions, by
Shiite,
law,
Sunni, and Morocco is Sunni, is that right? Primarily
exactly,
Sunni?
exactly. So it is. We are different. We are different because you can be from any religion and still live in Morocco, protected and free to exert your religion. So if we have Al-Qaeda...
So you don't see there's not an Islamist movement in Morocco?
No,
that's got any traction?
Morocco has always had a very large population of Jewish population in Morocco. Had some Christianity. There's a large respect for religion, and like Narjis said, there is with the new constitution as well, that every religion is respected and tolerated as well.
And so Al-Qaeda's made no inroads there. There's no...
They did. They actually did. They actually did just not long ago with the Argana, with the bombing in Marrakesh. But the country is fighting that as well. We don't have a large web of them and a large people who follow them. We do not have that. But they still exist in every country.
But this is the whole argument that's in the Middle East today, is that there was never an alternative to autocratic dictatorships that were were suppressing the economic rights of the people, and so the only place that any dissidents had to go was Islamism. But now with the Arab Spring, that there's an alternative, especially for young people. So you don't have to be an Islamic extremist. Come and be like me, get an education, become pro-democracy, et cetera, et cetera.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Definitely.
But why do you think nobody's paying attention to Morocco? I mean, to me, this is a pretty significant thing that's happened. You want to be on the front page of the New York Times, right?
And I agree with you. I mean, there is a lot of media that actually caught the story a little bit, but I don't think there is still a a link that's missing between the U.S. media and Morocco, I feel, and we try as Morocco
Tomorrow. And you have
Tomorrow,
a free and open press,
we
right?
try to, yeah, we do. We try to influence as many people as possible to really talk about Morocco and really put Morocco on the map. And I think it's a great opportunity for the U.S. and even Obama to really talk about Morocco and say, here is a country that's on the corner of East Africa. Northwest Africa. That's basically has a new democracy. There's a new constitution. Let's look at that as a model and really talk about it. And really, the media is not really covering as much as they should. And you're right; it should be on the cover of New York Times.
Is Morocco facing a lot of refugees?
Currently, no. Morocco, not really. No.
Right. One of the things that I think struck me that when the uprising started in Tunisia, that the Egyptians said that they received word, and I met with Wael Ghonim, who was the Google guy who was in Tahrir Square, and he said, we were twittering back and forth, we were communicating with other young people in Tunisia, and we figured if Tunisians can do it, so can the Egyptians. Now, is anybody communicating with you, whether with social media or otherwise, to say, gee, you've got the example we want to follow?
Yeah, we've been getting actually a lot of, so far we have about 650 members on Facebook, and we have about 70,000 hits between the website.
Well, you'll have a lot more now that you've been on Fox News.
Basically, all the really funny thing is that we've been getting actually a lot of great feedback, and a lot of Moroccans from around the world are very proud of the product that we came up with. And they also want to have a voice. And I think the U.S., there's a lot of, you don't really find a lot of Moroccan associations or nonprofits.
What's the population of Morocco?
32 million.
Oh, so it's a very large country.
Yeah, we have about 4.5, I think, less than 5 million of Moroccans living outside Morocco. So
well, it sounds like it's so good there, Wiley.
Well, we go back as much as possible. I went back 3 times this year, actually.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming and telling us a story that really people aren't talking about. And you're from MoroccoTomorrow.org.
MoroccoTomorrow.org.
Okay.
Yes.
And Hicham Enhaili.
Yes.
Right.
Hicham
and
Narjis Oughla.
Narjis Oughla. Okay, thank you. I'm not very good, I'm afraid, with Moroccan names, but it sounds like we're all going to get a lot better. Now, we want to close this show by showing some pictures of the demonstrations and the celebrations in Morocco. To show you don't always have to see pictures of the Middle East with bombs going off and people fleeing from tanks. We actually have some good news stories. So thank you very much for watching DEF CON 3. At this rate, this is going to be the happy hour of FoxNews.com Live. But thanks so much for joining us. And for the next week, you guys are on your own trying to figure all these stories out.